I'm writing a book. It's about religion. It's about the Messiah. You know, the Jewish Messiah has never arrived. And so I'm writing a book about what I believe it might be like if the Jewish Messiah or the Messiah or whatever Messiah you want was alive and living in New York City right now, you know, walking the streets of New York. You know, it's about what I think he would believe, how he would live, what his background would be, what he would preach, if he preached at all, how people would react to him. I'm probably about 30% done with it. I'm expecting to finish it sometime this summer, and I'm hoping it'll come out next year. In America, it's going to be called Illumination. In Europe and the rest of the world, it will be called the Final Testament of the Holy Bible. You know, and again, I'm playing with conventions of fact and fiction and truth. You know, to me, the idea that the Bible, either the Old or the New Testament, is fact is an absurd idea. That these fantastical stories could be real is a fantastical idea. No different in many ways from the stories of Superman or Batman or Spider-Man. But people take it as absolute fact, even though the New Testament, at its earliest, was written by people who never knew any of the people in the book and were writing, you know, 50 to 100 to 150 years later. In my view, there's no reason I can't do the same thing and present it as fact, the same way the Bibles are. I mean, I saw A Million Little Pieces, and my friend Leonard is sort of fitting into in the best case scenario, they would be grouped with books like Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn by Henry Miller, On the Road, Dharma Bums by Jack Kerouac, some of Norman Mailer's work, Celine. You know, these were writers who based works of literary art on their own life. That's what I've always considered what I do. I create literature. Faux, not faux, doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to, you know, write books, create, you know, the best pieces of literature that I can, regardless of what label gets slapped onto the side of them. The controversy, you know, it's been interesting. It's been surreal. It's certainly been weird. It's definitely unexpected. I don't think it helped or hurt, you know. I mean, the books were bestsellers before the controversy, and they were bestsellers after the controversy. Things happen in life, and you deal with them. I mean, if I had a choice, would I go through that controversy again? Definitely not. But having been through it, am I angry about it or upset about it? No. You know, in certain ways, it worked out pretty well for me. You know, I never wanted to be considered sort of a memoir writer or a self-help writer. And when A Million Little Pieces became as big as it did and as widely read as it did, it sort of moved out of the realm of literature into this other place that I was never comfortable with. And after the controversy, it moved it back, even more so, into the place I always wanted it to be, which was literature. You know, it's a book, it's a story, a highly manipulated story. I remember when Bright Shiny Morning came out, Time magazine ran a review of it, and the headline of the review in the print edition of the magazine said, "America's most notorious author returns." And if having that label attached to me is the result of the A Million Little Pieces controversies, I'm perfectly happy with it. That was frankly always the goal or the hope, to be America's most notorious author. I mean, there are a lot of writers who have affected my life in real and profound ways. Lao Tzu, Henry Miller, Baudelaire and Rimbaud, Ernest Hemingway, Jack Kerouac, Norman Mailer, Bret Easton Ellis. You know, I'm a big reader. I love to read. The reason I started writing books is because I love to read them. I still do. I spend a couple hours a day reading. There are a lot of books that have affected my life, but you know, if I had to say, you know, the three writers who have had the greatest effect on me, it would probably be Lao Tzu, Henry Miller, and I don't know, a tie between Jack Kerouac, Norman Mailer, and Bret Easton Ellis. How many Freys are there in the world? I don't have any idea how many Freys there are in the world. You don't come across that many of them. What Freys do I come from? I come from, the Chicago Freys, I guess. My dad's from Chicago. My grandfather was from York, Pennsylvania. I don't know what group of Freys I come from. I would say I come from the infamous Freys, or the notorious Freys. Those are my Freys. The Tao Te Ching is an ancient book of Chinese philosophy written by a guy named Lao Tzu, and there's some dispute as to whether an actual person named Lao Tzu ever even lived or not. There's no real documentation related to his life. He was a Chinese hermit, not even sure how long ago, 4,000 years ago. He wrote a book. The Tao Te Ching means the way. And it's just a book about how to look at life. It's a book of very short poems about how to approach life in a way that simplifies it and, in my opinion, makes it a lot easier to live. It's about acceptance and patience, simplicity. It's about, looking at the world and accepting it for what it is. I think we all look for things in our lives that will help us formulate philosophies or ideas on how we want to go about living, and that's the book that happened to do it for me.